anime stuff. Apparently we're going to be talking about that today. So we're probably going to be discussing a little bit of Soul Eater. It's not just going to be anime. We might, after that we might start discussing a little bit about, let's see, I might just talk about a few other games we played. We've already talked last episode. We talked about Breath of the Wild. We talked about Persona, yeah. And for today we were planning on talking about a few other games that we've tried, namely free games that are either questionable sourced or just plain silly. And after that, we're probably gonna decide we're gonna go on a little bit of a nostalgia trip at the end. Right down memory lane from all those TV shows that probably a lot of us on here have seen or remembered. So here we go.
Yep.
I mean, so last time, I'm not sure if I really did any voice acting, but I mean, I'm not a professional voice actor, but I do like putting my voice out. So I guess, so I might do a little bit of that on this episode. Anywho, Soul Eater, yeah.
Shall I explain the anime? Shall I explain the anime?
Sure.
Okay, so Soul Eater was released in 2008. It's about children that live in this place called Death City, and they go to an academy to be trained as meisters and weapons. So
what's a meister?
Yeah, so a meister is somebody who can wield a person who can transform into a weapon. They're like the ones that's like telling their weapon partner what to do. And of course the weapon can change into various weapons that you can never think of, but they can only transform into one weapon. And yeah, they just partner along with their meister, and together they fight against Keishans in that area who mainly eat the souls of humans.
So a Keishan is, I'm gonna presume, some sort of monster in this universe.
Right. There's plenty of Keishans in that universe. They're monsters. They pose a threat to that city area. But there are also other types of monsters, namely witches.
Okay, so we're going to I forgot if witches are in like, if it's, I don't want to say anything weird, but anywho, I know witches are part of like one sort of monster kind of culture thing.
Yeah, but witches are pretty much a big threat in that anime, and in this case there's this witch called Medusa who wants to revive the first Keishan of Death City. So she does that by pretending she's the nurse of the school, and let's see.
Spoilers incoming. So
yes,
actually no, spoilers are already happening. So so if you want to watch Soul Eater now, I suggest you go to that at some point. But anywho, Medusa, as in like the Gorgon from Greek mythology.
Right, and that's also her last name, Gorgon.
Oh, okay.
Right. So in this anime, Medusa has a child named Krona, which apparently her gender is unknown, but it's either the viewer's choice to make her, to let them see her as a boy or a girl. I personally see her as a girl.
Okay, anime stuff. We can see that.
Yeah.
We already see that unfolding.
Yeah.
So we got people who can turn into weapons.
Yeah.
We got people who basically wield these weapons that are also people. Like, is it like, do the people know each other, or is it like anyone can wield anyone?
Oh, well, it's anyone who can who is enrolled in the academy. That's in that community only, but you can only like partner with one weapon, one weapon to one Meister. So, they in order to do that, their wavelengths have to be matched. If they don't,
Wavelengths?
yeah.
Wavelengths? What?
Their soul wavelength is what makes the person compatible. It's like based on like personality, you would kind of say.
Okay, so I guess like they have their soul is a wavelength. It counts like a sound or something, maybe.
Sound, not really sound, really.
Just like matching personalities will match better.
Yeah, if their personalities match, then yeah, you find yourself a partner.
Okay.
Certainly.
So you and I have both watched Soul Eater, so I know I've got to figure out a little bit of this myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I know so there's a bunch of characters in this, a lot of characters besides the ones you mentioned, Crona, Medusa. Death Academy, as far as I know, he's run by who is basically the Grim Reaper, Lord Death.
Yeah.
Who, as far as we know, is ageless. So we already have basically a divine being right there from the get go. The art style of the anime is very like it's like very almost hokey and Halloweenish to itself. It's like to the point where like even the sun and moon have like exaggerated like almost like ghastly faces on them.
That's right.
It's,
Especially other inanimate objects.
yeah.
There are a lot of faces on things.
But I mean it's not as crazy as like the old cartoons where it's just like faces on literally everything.
Right.
Where everything is anthropomorphic. No. It does a few main key things that have faces.
Yeah.
And some things are sentient. So I guess we could probably go over to character roster now. So like maybe
Okay, so aside from Lord Death, who is basically the founder of Death Academy, there's like
great original name right there.
Yeah. There's also Maka Albarn. She's kind of like the top student of the academy, grade-wise. She was actually the first to get 99 Kishin souls, but she kind of like failed, and when she like was supposed to get a witch soul after, but instead she got a cat soul instead, so she kind of had to start over. But either way, she's actually the main character, and she's a Meister, and her weapon partner is Soul.
What? Another original name right there. That's the funny part about this series.
Yeah.
The names are some of the names are just silly, just like you'd think they're not creative a name, but they're easy to remember.
Too.
Hmm?
They're also a play on words too.
Or they are just the words themselves.
Yes, that's right. So Soul is Waka's weapon partner. He turns into a scythe.
I'm getting more feels for just emphasis on death and Grim Reaper and Halloween.
Yeah.
I think this is probably a very good series to just watch throughout the month of October. Kind of funny we're talking about this in March when it's Irish time.
Mhm. But it's alright. You can watch the anime anytime.
Irish time. Yeah. I think we watched it. We watched it this semester, not last semester.
Right. We watched it in early February, but aside from that, characters. So between Maka and Soul, Maka has a more of a strict personality. She wants to do everything by the book, which kind of like gets her a little bit stumped when something is out of the ordinary and she doesn't know what to do. So
versus Soul, whose soul is
laid back. He's like, just go with it, go with the flow. Everything's gonna be alright. Just snap out of it and just do what you need to do. And alright, so the next partner is Blackstar. He's the Meister who has a personality, who's very childish, hyperactive,
he is a kid.
rambunctious.
he is basically a very hyperactive, kind of
vulgar kid.
yeah, very big ego.
Yeah, he has a very big ego.
But which I would guess that I could assume that some people who have watched the anime, probably not many people seem to like. I don't think many people always like Black Star, but I personally find his character to be it definitely gives the character roster a much bigger variety.
Yeah, I guess you can kind of say that Black Star is like the comedy of the anime. He brings like the comedy relief.
But what about some of the other more, I guess, weird characters, such as, one of my favorites, Excalibur.
Yeah, he shows up in a few episodes, but we'll get to him shortly.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, we're just gonna go down the list. Then.
Yeah. Then so there's also Death's kid. That's literally his name. They never gave him a very detailed name.
He's called Death the Kid.
Death
his
the Kid.
His friends call him Kid.
Big creative names 101 right here.
Yeah.
Please do not name children after these characters.
Yeah. He has kind of an OCD personality where he wants everything, and I mean everything, to be symmetrical.
Symmetry specific OCD.
Yeah.
If it's not symmetrical, he'll go absolutely bonkers.
Yes.
If he sees symmetry, then he goes absolutely gaga over it, to the point where even the most important responsibilities are often overshadowed by, are often shunted aside for the favor of just admiring symmetry.
Yep. And his weapon partners are two guns, which are Liz and Patty. They're the Thompson sisters.
Yeah.
And they were raised in like a very poor neighborhood, and then they kind of like acted as like vulgar as well, where they robbed from people. But I guess they were reformed once they found Kid. So.
Yeah. And it's kind of like just your standard duo for the Thompson sisters. One is like really like one's like relatively calm and collected, but also a little bit also is very scared of spooky things.
Yeah,
she's often very unsettled in various parts of that city, when there's spooky things happening.
Right.
And given that this is basically a Halloween world kind of thing, minus a lot of Western ghosts and stuff, except for the Grim Reaper. She gets scared a lot.
Yeah, that one's Liz. Liz is the older sister, calm and collected, plus a scaredy cat.
Yeah. And then
Patty is the...
She's special.
Yeah, she's a special case.
She's hilarious though.
She's pretty funny. She kind of doesn't have much of a good intellectual background. She's a little bit slow, acts a little really childish, like toddler childish.
Yeah, her character.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about her character. I probably should. Yeah. Anywho, and then of course Death the Kid be kind of like, it's kind of like a compliment to them, where Liz and Patty kind of they are good. They're basically they're basically good with Death the Kid because they're good at snapping him out of his symmetry trances.
Right.
And asymmetry.
Yeah.
And since there's two of them, their weapon forms are basically two guns that Death the Kid will very often do symmetrical poses with two guns.
Yeah, and he chose those two sister guns because he really didn't want any other weapon because they were only in one form. He wanted two to match that symmetry.
Yeah.
So also, if one of his guns are gone, he wouldn't use that one sister because of his OCD.
Yeah. So let's see.
We forgot about Tsubaki.
Tsubaki.
Tsubaki is the weapon of Black Star.
Yep, and she has actually a few forms. Black Star, supposedly supposedly he's basically an assassin playing off kind of a ninja's backstory.
Mhm.
That being being one where he is part of a clan that would often conspire against small towns and eventually choose to assassinate people who apparently didn't belong. Dark story stuff, and ultimately eventually his clan was wiped out. He's the last one,
Right.
but he has no memories of the clan,
Right.
or he does, I guess, or other people do, but
he does, but he
just doesn't want to represent his clan.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He wants to be his own clan.
Yeah, he really wants to be his own big ego person.
Yeah, his ego keeps on growing so crazily that it's like that's basically what allows him to have his powers, I guess.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Like I said, his wavelength. A wavelength is also a power. So basically, because his personality is so big, his wavelength is actually pretty big as well.
Yeah.
And he can actually fight with his wavelength too. To the point where he like uses like a soul force kind of thing.
Yeah, to the point where he can either use a soul weapon that's a weapon, like the weapon that's not a Meister,
Mhm.
or he can basically use his own soul energy, I guess, however it works, magic, weird stuff.
Yeah.
That he can use that to use as a sort of attack.
Mhm.
And because of the powers of anime, enemies in most cases can only be hurt by soul involving things.
Yeah, in a way.
Where like physical forces almost never hurt them. They can, but very rarely.
Yeah.
That's anime stuff. Anywho,
So you can talk about Excalibur now.
okay, yeah, Excalibur is a very special character. Appears in only a few episodes, and only in one episode does he actually play any critical purpose.
That's near the end.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically near the end of the second part. Soul Eater is a very short anime, only 2 parts.
51 episodes, 1 season, but kind of separated in 2 parts.
Yeah. So, Excalibur, the name is basically what he is. At least he's a weapon, not a Meister, and he is basically the legendary sword. But the quirk about him is, one, he's not a human. He looks like I don't even know what he looks like.
He looks like a
kobold,
penguin
something, penguin.
with rabbit feet. He has this weird eye that's like.
He has a big cute
wow,
eye.
Yeah.
Like you can make a plushie out of him if you want to.
There's actually plushies.
Yes, there are plushies. All the plushies.
Yeah. So.
And everything he says is a tangent off of anything else he says.
Yep.
He basically every sentence he says is a sidetrack.
And if you dare correct him, he will literally call you out and call you a fool.
Yes. Similar to Death, he seems to be immortal, as far as we know, and supposedly is indeed like the sort of legend, like if you ever heard the story of King Arthur, that's basically that. But he's also absolutely hilarious because like it's just so out of the blue,
Yeah.
and it's like if you like that kind of comedy, like that you're gonna like those small episodes there.
Yeah, but in anime, mostly everyone hates Excalibur because of how he goes off tangent, corrects everyone no matter what they say, and people have
and usually he corrects people in the wrong way, and in important times when he shouldn't be saying the wrong things, people somehow assume that he's saying the right thing anyway.
Yeah.
Perhaps because they already know about him, and that they shouldn't correct him. You should simply assume he is right. he is right. If he's in a Sherlock Holmes case, they will put the wrong man in jail only because Excalibur says so.
Right.
It's really it's weird.
But maybe that's actually his own interpretation.
Oh
He kind
gosh.
of probably makes up
so,
these stories.
so even that's his own made up thing. That's
Yeah,
oh
he has
gosh.
a lot of stories, so who knows what is real.
yeah, overly specific and goes on a tangent every sentence. His character is basically I cannot stand this person, the character.
Yeah.
But at the same time his appearance is absolutely adorable. So somehow like some people can get attached to him.
Yeah.
For fun.
And people have tried to match wavelengths with him, but you can actually match wavelengths with him, but you can't actually match personality with him.
Yeah, so, yeah, he like the quirk about him is any Meister can wield him as a weapon, but the problem is in order to wield him you have to be with him.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody wants to be with him.
No. One
They
character
eventually
did
return him
try.
back to this basically sacred shrine or something.
Yep.
That you find him in that shrine, you pull the sword, and it's like, oh, you're now the you're like the hero of legend, and now all of a sudden Excalibur starts listing all the rules you have to follow,
Yeah.
and once story time starts happening, that's basically where where a character will eventually just put the sword back,
Yeah.
put him back as a sword the moment he turns into a sword.
I forgot the character's name, but he kind of did try to stay with Excalibur for like a long, long time.
There's one one character who is more of a side character.
Yeah.
He still plays a role in throughout most of the story.
Mm-hmm.
As is a school setting. It's generally a school setting with a few other places. So you are going to get to know all the characters at some point in the school. It's all the main people. We just cannot remember the name.
Yeah, he was like a very one-time character, but yeah, he stayed with him for a long time. He really just wanted the sword so that he wouldn't be a pushover. But he kind of like when he was with Excalibur, he was kind of a jerk to everyone and kind of formed a gang in the entire school.
He basically just let Excalibur do most of the control work.
Yeah.
And just let himself to force himself to be popular, even though he never really was.
Right.
And then eventually people found him unbearable. He basically developed an ego almost as big as Black Star.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where Black Star and him actually fought, I believe.
Yeah, and he won, not Black Star.
He won, yes, but of course fights are never finished because we don't want to kill off the main cast.
There is no killing of the main cast ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, whenever there is a fight between people in the main cast, they still use the word kill, at least in the English translation.
Yeah, we watched it in dub because I was pretty much used to dub when I first watched it. I just introduced it to Aiden.
But we are, of course, but we each have had a little bit of experience of the sub as well, so we're not blind to it.
That's right.
We're not blind to the differences.
Mhm.
I guess another character favorite, Death, Lord Death. This is my best interpretation of his voice, or impression, I should say. So are you? Hello, this is Death. Not really, I'm not his voice, this is someone else.
It's good.
Yeah. But anywho, Death is absolutely hilarious. His voice is silly in both sub and dub. In dub, it sounds a little bit more serious, maybe for our culture, but I'm gonna guess that in Japanese it's a silly voice.
Yeah.
He he's silly on the outside, but it's always on the inside that there's always some sort of implied I guess there's always some sense of him being incredibly serious at times, but you never expect it.
He was pretty serious with the Keishan when it was revived.
Yeah, he basically has like he's kind of like masking himself basically, and quite literally.
Yeah, apparently the form that his voice, his face, which is actually his mask that he currently has, and throughout the entire anime is actually masked so that it wouldn't scare the children in the academy.
Because apparently the academy it's kind of like a not really K through 12. It's more like high school through college level.
I feel like they're more middle school aged.
Middle school. Yeah. So middle school through college level kind of stuff.
Kind of.
But instead of completely being like educational, it's more like
physical.
It's a fighting school basically. Yeah, anime stories get weird really quickly. For those listeners who may not be familiar with anime, but find that this show is good.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Alright, so my favorite character is Krona, the daughter or son or whoever you
Depending on your interpretation. Probably one of the most dynamic character arcs I've seen in not even just anime, in just a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Very incredibly dynamic.
So Krona is a character with short pink hair and wears like a very slim dress-like clothing.
Yeah, it's like is either a guy wearing a skirt for whatever reason, or perhaps even being forced to wear a skirt, or a girl in a slim black dress.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Well, Krona has a thing called black blood, which makes her blood harden so that she becomes mainly indestructible on the inside.
However, this black blood is sentient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and I kind of made a lot of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stand jokes describing this, basically a bully who is the embodiment of Krona's inner personality, but is also physical embodiment made of her blood. It's really weird.
And his name is Ragnarok.
Yep, that is Norse name, I believe it's
So Ragnarok shoots out of Krona's back.
And it's basically a JoJo stand, but instead of being spiritual, he is made of black blood, ink stuff, weird thing. He's kind of cute and also weird, but he's also basically a bully, because Krona
cannot fend for herself at all.
Yeah, there's a bit of a dark story on that end. You're gonna have to watch the anime to go see that for yourself.
It may be a little bit sensitive if we talk about it.
Yeah, sensitive content warning on Soul Eater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ragnarok kind of turns into a sword.
Yeah, it turns into a sword, and I'll say this: the story between Ragnarok, Krona, and Medusa, it starts out quite dark, but as the story goes on, it gradually progresses to be very uplifting, and as I said, one of the most dynamic character arcs I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is why I like Krona. Her breakthrough and journey is actually pretty relatable. Going through such a hard time.
Now, and we're saying her, but people will debate whether it's her or him.
Yeah, I'm just used to saying her. Apologize to others.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of people seem to say it's him. A lot of people say it's her. But
the anime would say him, especially in dub. But again, it's your choice.
And also sub.
Sub would say him too.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's also a few places where they use female, and it's just weird. The character kind of looks feminine, but It's anime, up to interpretation. We're not gonna go any further. But yeah, so your fun stuff, funny stuff, a little bit of dark stuff. Yeah, sensitivity warning for people who might be sensitive to certain content. It's not for everyone, and and also I guess we should also put out it's not for all ages either.
It's PG-13.
Yeah, it's PG-13, although
there is some stuff in there that's probably not PG-13.
there's
AKA a character named Blair, which we will not speak about.
Yeah, we will not speak about her. But she only appears a little bit. Just because it's PG-13 doesn't mean it's the best rating they could have given it for the average amount, for the general amount of content in it. Or not amounts, the general type of content in it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's still a very good show.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's see. I think that is a good place to take a break here. You're listening to Cougar Radio, and this I am Aiden McCarthy, and we have Jamila Walker here.
Yeah.
So that'll be it for now. We will be back after this break. Okay, and we are back. You're listening to Cougar Radio with Jamila and Aiden. So let's see. So as we finish with talking about Solier, we have a few more things, such as some games that we want to talk about. Namely, games from I guess silly sources, like there's a few games that you and I have tried out, and one of them is called, they're both free games. We were kind of bored. We didn't really want to play any games that we already had before. So we decided we're gonna see what's on the free games workshops, just for sillies. One of them was called Helltaker, and why don't you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so I kind of found that game on Steam.
It's on Steam. Forgot about that.
Yeah, it's free of course, and apparently you play as this burly looking guy that kind of wants to create a harem, which is like guys surrounded around many girls.
Yeah, it's a very short game, and
it's very short. Apparently it's not arcade style. It's practically just strategy. Tests you how you could like do the puzzles.
It's in reality it's a slider puzzle kind of game, and then there's these little two answer quiz things that you're supposed to get right, or else you lose.
Yeah, you kind of die. Like the girls kind of kill you. You get a bad end. If you get the answer wrong, it's supposed to be like the answer that it's desirable towards the girl.
As most free games of this style are, where it's like very straightforward. In most cases there's only one real way to say that you beat the game, and it's a bit of a grind.
Yeah. So yeah, like we said, it's a puzzle-ish, multiple choice kind of game.
And then there's all of a sudden suddenly there's a boss fight at the end, and it's more of a survival section than anything.
Yeah, you use the same kind of sliding dynamics, trying to like move away from the things that will attack you.
Which is it turns into a bullet hell.
Yep, pretty much. Kind of like Undertale.
Yeah, unlike Undertale, it's restricted to grid series.
Yep.
Orthographic, I think is the name of it. Anywho,
Yeah.
Helltaker, it's got a cute, silly story that's like very like heaven hell-y lust kind of stuff. Just and not anything like actually like not anything controversial or anything. It's just
It's just a setting.
it's just
in the most
it's just
simplistic way.
it's very
Yeah.
and honestly, it's just a cheesy, fun little game you could just try for yourself or do with a friend and see who can beat the game before the other person, things like that.
Yeah, something to take time off, especially with finals going on. Actually,
Yeah.
excuse me, midterms.
It's not, and like basically all free games, it's not something you're gonna spend a lot of time on.
Right.
It's just for mindless fun.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I guess we're gonna bring up is what's it called? It seems to be on the memes now. Friday Night Funkin'. If you haven't heard of it, if you haven't seen it in the memes yet, I suggest just take a look at the memes, whether on Discord or really even more popular social media that's popping up there.
Okay.
It basically okay. Quick summary of the game in one sentence. It's basically DDR, but it's DDR on a keyboard.
And that stands for Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah, a game that everyone's gonna remember. If you don't remember it, then I feel sorry for you.
It's okay if you don't know what it is. We all come from different generations.
yeah.
So you use the keypad and kind of move to the rhythm of like the song.
You don't move. You just press the buttons. It's like you could say it's like if you ever played Geometry Dash, it's like that, but with more but you have to. But there's instead of hitting basically having one action, there's 4 different actions you can input, and you input it to the rhythm. If you're bad at the rhythm, then of course you'll eventually
Game over and have to retry.
But yeah, it's more of like but instead of like make one mistake you're out. It's more like you have to make quite a few mistakes before you're truly out, and you can redeem yourself by making successes.
Yep.
But it's still
It's pretty hard, kind of.
It gets hard as I've noticed in a lot of free games. It's cute though.
Yeah.
It's cute. Got a lot of cute free songs in it.
This one is actually kind of an arcade game where it's like based off of your score.
It actually has a score on the bottom, so you can actually see how well you did in each little round that you did.
Yep.
Let's see what other free games I have not played. What other free games have you done?
Let's see if we can find any that I remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing on your mind?
No, I'm just like, I'm remembering from what I played recently this semester. So maybe I could probably find some more and talk about it in our next session.
Yeah, or we might bring up something different. Next session, it'll be the day after St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
We'll have something a little special for that on the video end. If you want the video, might be able to see what's going on. But it's just a cute little thing. I will not spoil anything at this point. But I guess this will take us to the last bit of the radio show. That is going down, memory lane. So first of all, let's see. TV shows. There's a lot of things that I'm pretty sure a lot of us have a lot of memories of, like various old TV shows, like Fairly Odd Parents, Flintstones. I'm noticing people who like to post SpongeBob memes. The memes are getting a little bit different than what I remember from the actual SpongeBob episodes. Occasionally you'll see like season 1, but like otherwise, yeah. So I guess this is where I ask you, what would you say was one of your favorites? Of those cartoons in your childhood?
My favorite, I usually was on Boomerang a lot, so I kind of like Tom and Jerry. I guess that was my favorite one as a child.
Yeah, that's that Tom and Jerry. Yeah, I apparently got taken down because there's like this one episode that had a little bit of a controversy in it.
Oh.
And I feel sad for that because it was such a good show.
Also, there's a lot of remakes of Tom and Jerry. I don't know if that's correct, but
The remakes from what I've heard of people who watch Tom and Jerry, no one really likes the remakes.
I figured nobody likes remakes of old stuff.
Yeah. Fun fact: every audio bit on Tom and Jerry is actually in a giant music score sheet. In other words, basically the orchestra that performed the music for Tom and Jerry also did every bit of audio in the show. Tom and Jerry is not the only show to do this. A lot of older animations and really any show, the audio is in the score. Tom and Jerry is just one of the more well known because so many people know Tom and Jerry. Nowadays it's not like that, where there isn't as much big orchestra as I know of. But it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Um,
I also liked Kim Possible as a kid. Yeah.
that one doesn't ring a bell. Tell me
Really? You
about it.
never watched Kim Possible?
No, I've not.
Oh, well.
Or maybe I have and I just don't remember it. What do you remember from it?
Teen girl fights crime. I remember Shigo, one of her enemies, and I guess she was a henchman of one of the main arch enemies, which was like, I think his name was Drago or something like that. I wish I could remember the name so I can give you better information.
The cheesiness of the 90s.
Yeah. It was mostly 2000s, really. But,
Early 2000s, I should say, yeah.
and, well, Kim Possible's sidekick was Ron. And he had, like, a mole rat, I think? A pink mole rat.
Okay, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't really remember much of the episodes that happened. I just remember the characters.
I guess here's one that I think a lot of people will remember, recognize. There's actually a few of them. Ben 10, Danny Phantom, and The Fairly Odd Parents.
I love Danny Phantom. I don't think I watched Ben 10.
Oh, you've not seen that one?
Mm.
I feel like they were on. No, wait. Was Ben 10 on? I think Ben 10 was Cartoon Network, or was that also Nickelodeon? Oh, that's a question that's stumping you.
That's probably Cartoon Network, if I'm correct. Yeah, I'm correct, yeah.
Perhaps. And we might be getting our cartoons mixed up. If there are, that's yeah.
What else? Yeah, Danny Phantom. That was fun.
Yeah, Danny Phantom is like one of those cartoons that so many people remember, but so few people actually very few people, as I know, actually would recognize now because it did not air for very long.
True.
I mean, versus like The Fairly Odd Parents, which has many seasons, and there's plenty of meme content for The Fairly Odd Parents. I think I've seen a whole Reddit for that.
Oh, I never seen.
I don't remember what the Reddit was called. I don't think it was called Fairly Odd Parents though.
Really?
It had something to do with the show. I will check later though.
Yeah. Okay.
Anywho,
Other shows. I remember Rugrats, and there's also Flintstones too.
That's not. Oh my gosh, memory just came to me. Do you remember the only Chowder?
I know Chowder.
The show that everyone wanted, everyone loves, and yet they showed so little of it.
Yeah.
You had so many good episodes. Its art style was so out of the blue and just it's so quirky, but it's also so adorable.
Yeah.
Like that like if Chowder aired for a little bit longer, I feel like it would have become the new I mean, I'm gonna say it here. This might be a bit drastic, but I feel like it could have become like almost like a second SpongeBob for how popular I feel it should have been.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Chowder was pretty popular back when it was released. Yeah, it's a long time.
That was Chowder. Yeah, I love all the shenanigans with Chowder in the kitchen, and then all the things are how it's supposed to be all food themed, but like everything they do is not always food.
Yeah. Weren't the characters named after food too? Of course.
Every
Chowder,
character is named after food.
Clam
Yeah,
Chowder,
Chowder,
Panini.
Endive. I actually had to look up what some of the foods were.
Yeah.
Like I did not know that Mung Dal was that Mung is a bean and Dal is something else. I forgot what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Endive is a spice. I think. I might be getting that wrong.
It's a vegetable.
It's a vegetable? What? Oh, we got a third visitor. Yeah, okay, so we learn endive is a vegetable now. I don't know what it tastes like.
I haven't tried those foods.
I do not know where it comes from either. There, let's go, uncultured group duo. Let's see. So, yeah, those are some of my favorites. We got like what other mountain ones? You mentioned Rugrats. Cat Scratch.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Cat Scratch.
Yeah, I remember the three cats and the little adventures that they did and the wacky art style. I think that was like old Nick art style where everything just looks all out of place and their appendages is so weird.
Yeah, a lot of the animators for Nickelodeon were very experimental for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many new art styles and it was even in Cartoon Network too.
Oh yeah?
Like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network both had very experimental art styles during like the mid 2000s. There's two shows that I wouldn't say are ones that I found as notable for their content, but for the art style, it's definitely one has a much more grim art style. Marvelous and Misadventures of Flapjack, Cartoon Network.
I remember that show.
Yeah,
yes.
that show had a few creepy scenes in it. I can see it had a lot of brilliant moments in it, but it was also a little bit overshadowed by its rather dark and not as welcoming demeanor. It seemed to have, it had a good community around it, but it was also super small. So it didn't really, it aired for quite a bit, but not for too long. I think it had only like what, 2 seasons, 1 season.
Yeah.
Not the biggest, and also
another creepy show is also Courage.
Oh, Courage Cowardly Dog, but that one is memeable as heck.
Yes, it is.
I think Marvelous Mr. I think Flapjack was a cartoon series that was trying to do what Courage Cowardly Dog did, but they kind of made a little bit too much of the scares.
Oh.
Courage is also a little bit of a weird show.
That show kind of made me a little bit unsettled, but I still watched it anyway.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I guess that's what a lot of us when we were kids did. We'd see a show, we'd watch it. It doesn't matter what the show had on it. If we didn't like it, well, we'd probably just do something else. But the TV would still be running very often.
Still, for Flapjack, I do see some, quite a lot of memes about it.
You do?
Yeah.
I have not seen a meme from Flapjack in a long time.
Really?
I think I've seen like one, and I did not save that one.
Yeah.
Whereas Courage, that the show just made its own memes. in
It did.
a way. Not too many quotes because there isn't necessarily a lot of dialogue.
Except for the one about the barracuda in the bathtub. Remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah. Wacky art styles. How about one that's kind of cute, but also absolutely hilarious, absolutely just also bonkers. The Kids Next Door.
Oh.
Candy
yeah.
and Kids Next Door.
Yeah.
And another weird art style that a lot of people liked and definitely meme over. It starts with it has 3 E's in the name. Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Oh yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Yep. I could never tell which spelling went to which person.
I know I couldn't do the same thing either.
One is ED, one is EDD, and one is EDDIE.
Really?
It's like
Oh yes, of course.
Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Yeah.
I can never figure out who's who.
Never. Either could I. Yeah.
I love how their like their art. I like how their art style is constantly moving.
Oh yes.
Like it was always like every frame of it is just like it's like you could tell it's a different drawing.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like very like kind of wacky wavy, and also but not so jittery that's like it's painful to look at.
Right.
And like shows were absolutely hilarious. I remember, like very very crass but silly humor.
Yeah.
And I kind of compare I would compare that a lot with Kids Next Door for it to be like there's a lot of crafting going on in those 2 episodes. Not episodes. In those 2 shows.
Right. Other shows. Oh well, I remember the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, that is a show oh my gosh. I actually watched I watched that quite a bit as a younger kid, but also the consequence of that is that I could not remember it as the years passed. I just remember that I watched it. I remember quite a few of the characters. I don't remember their names. Dang it! Do you remember their names? I know one of them's
Just
name
know
is
the
Bubble.
professor, Bubbles, Blossom, Buttercup, and they live with the professor. Mojo Jojo, that was the enemy.
That was the main, the BBEG, Big Bad Evil Guy.
And remember that woman that was always there, but they never showed their heads? That also showed up in Tom and Jerry too, and I never understood why they don't show like the faces of some characters.
I don't know
so
either.
Weird.
It's always like whenever it's like a character that's more either a kid or a character that's small. They never show the full grown adults characters' faces.
Right.
The shows like Danny Phantom, shows like Danny Phantom, SpongeBob. There wasn't really size disparity, but shows like Timmy Turner. Those shows kind of broke that kind of. They broke that pattern, and so anything that came after them no longer hid the faces of adult figures. I guess on that note, a lot of shows did do that, hiding authoritative figures. I know Peanuts did that.
Which one?
Peanuts.
Yes,
in
they
like the
actually
3
covered
episodes that they
all
actually
adults.
have.
They literally covered. They just didn't show the adults at all. They even muffled their voices.
They don't even muffle. They just play a trombone.
Oh, that's cool.
They like.
It's so weird and strange how they do that.
Yeah, the comics are still going on strong, but like I don't know where the show airs because I only know the Peanuts through the comics, and then of course the one show that is ever shown for the Peanuts, and that's a Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
If the Peanuts developers were to ever listen to this radio, I would want to tell them like, please make more shows and actually air them because that had the cutest art style.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give that cutest art style award, and I want more, and I'm never given more.
Yeah.
I don't think you are either. I don't know. depends on what station you are. Either that, they never made any other episodes.
I think they were just specials. That's all I remember of the Peanuts. You know, Thanksgiving special, Halloween special, Christmas special.
Ah, yes, like how Garfield had like 3 episodes for his character.
To be honest, I never really knew Garfield had a TV show.
Yeah.
But I like the old Garfield that I see now. But I know there's like the Garfield show from like the newer days of Cartoon Network. I don't know if that.
I think it's like it's like both 3D and 2D.
Yeah.
I guess that's called augmented reality.
I just know the 3D one. I don't know. I didn't know there was any animation from
Yeah.
2D.
I know the Garfield on TV mainly through that one movie that they had that was, I think in what is it, like I think it was post 2010, might be pre 2010, can't remember, but yeah, I remember that happened. Okay. There's anywho, I didn't say them a lot.
It's alright.
I think that might be a cue that we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed.
yeah, and Cougar Radio, Aiden and Mila section here, and we're all set. Have a great day, and see Patty's Day. Bye.
Bye.